hey, speaking of, I think since last time we talked, the Super Bowl happened. Do you have any comments on the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think the Packers should have been there.
Yeah.
And I have somewhat of a basis for that. I think if the Buccaneers have an awesome defense, and defenses does win championships, that's a traditional kind of algorithm that people use to decide who's going to be favored in the Super Bowl. And for sure that happened this time. But for both the Packers and for the Chiefs, their offensive line, a couple of their key offensive line members were injured, and their quarterbacks, who are really the kind of stars of the show, never really got a chance to get going, nor did the running games. And so the Buccaneers defense just dominated. I don't think they would have dominated that mightily if there had been if either the Packers or the Chiefs offensive lines had been more healthier. But congratulations to the Buccaneers. Obviously Tom Brady is a very effective and efficient, and he's just a winner. He just wins. It's hard not to resent and envy him because he's so dang good and he wins so much. But good for them. Congratulations to them. They've got some awesome defensive players.
I just read an article this week. I'll try to link it below, but I actually didn't read it. I skimmed it because it's not really something I'm interested in, but I did send it to my husband. It was an article all about, it says all the ways that Tom Brady is football's GOAT, greatest of all time. And it was like a bunch of statistical analysis of like all of his records and like, a bunch of stuff about him, about why he's the greatest of all time, which I don't really care about, but if you do, I'll link it because it might be interesting.
I don't really care either. I think he probably is. He certainly is the most he's certainly the most successful at the highest level. I mean, he's been in more Super Bowls than anybody else.
Yeah.
So
that's
there
a
you
good
go.
measure right there.
If that's a metric, then there you go.
I have a question about football. So like in football, it seems like the quarterback matters a lot, and like if your quarterback is good, you're going to be pretty good, and if your quarterback is bad, I don't know. Can a team be really good even if you have like a really crappy quarterback? Or does the
There have been some teams that have had some pretty crummy quarterbacks, just mediocre quarterbacks. But they have to have a really intense defense. They have to have a good offensive line, and they have to have a good running game. You got to generate some kind of offense. And if it's not going to be through passing, it's got to be through running. Running is obviously less glitzy and glamorous, but it's typically more secure, and it allows you to dominate the play time, the clock time, because every it's just the way the clock runs. Running plays tend to take up more time than passing plays, and so you can keep the other team's offense off the field. So having your own good, stable running offense is a great defense against other teams too. So
do you think that football, a flaw in the game of football is that the quarterback matters too much, or do you think that doesn't really matter?
That's just a factor. Obviously that gets eliminated when you don't have a good offensive line that's able to protect your quarterback. If your quarterback is running for his life, doesn't matter how skilled and how clever he is. If he's running for his life, he's not going to be able to function at a higher level, you know. So you do need a quarterback that can function at a high level, but you also need an offensive line that can keep the defenders from pounding them into the dirt.
Yeah. It's kind of like Quidditch.
It's exactly like Quidditch, which is why Quidditch is my second favorite sport.
Well, I was gonna say, like, you used to bring up, or you at least used to bring up, Lord of the Rings a lot on this show.
Yes.
And I feel like your Lord of the Rings is my Harry Potter. Like, I love Harry Potter.
That's your touchstone, yeah.
I think it's one of the best, like, stories. I mean, it really is just the story of, like, the biblical story rewritten. But I love it. I love Harry Potter. And my daughter has been listening.
Wait, I thought you were a Twilight fan. Weren't you?
No. My daughter,
I'm kidding.
My daughter has been listening to.
No offense to anybody who likes Twilight. Hello. Think about it. Repent.
Although it's not as good as Harry Potter, so
Repent.
Change your ways. My daughter's been listening to the Harry Potter audiobook. She just finished the first one, and she's on the second one. And it's funny because she's pretty little. She's only 4.5, but she gets the story and likes it a lot. Especially because we have the illustrated versions, and so she can kind of like see along with some of it, and that helps. But I've been thinking about Quidditch a lot because Quidditch is just a weird game. Anyway, I won't go into I'll spare you all my deep analysis of Quidditch, but Quidditch, like, really, if you have a good seeker, who's the person who's catching the snitch, like, that is worth so much, and that's what ends the game. That it's like, it's kind of like that's the really,
seeker is like the quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, and it's like that's kind of a flaw in the game. Although, if you read all the Harry Potter books, you'll realize that it doesn't always mean that you're going to win just because you catch the snitch. But anyway.
But it generally does.
But generally, if the seeker is paying attention and the seeker is good, it will mean that you're going to win the game. So
yeah. But you also need defenders to keep your seeker from getting bludgered.
Yep, exactly. And keep the other team from just scoring a bunch of because if you just keep scoring over and over again, you're going to get more than 150 points, and then you're going to lose the game regardless. Anyway,